My fiancée said, "Your promotion doesn't impress me." My ex-maid partner at 30. I replied, "Noted." Then I canceled the luxury apartment lease I'd signed for us and moved into a studio. When she showed up with moving boxes, the landlord handed her the cancellation notice. I-29, mail work and logistics. My entire life is built around efficiency, risk management, and keeping things moving when the world is on fire. High stress, high volume. For the last 3 years, the only thing I wasn't managing properly was my relationship with my fiancée. When we met, I was a mid-level manager grinding my way up, and she was finding herself in marketing, which mostly meant job hopping every 6 months while I covered the rent, the dates, and the lifestyle she felt entitled to. I didn't mind because I loved her. I thought we were a team building towards something. 2 weeks ago, the grind finally paid off. The regional director stepped down, and the board tapped me. It wasn't just a bump. It was a rocket launch. Title change to Director of Operations Equity, and a salary increase that put me in a tax bracket that actually hurts. I drove home that night with my hands shaking on the steering wheel, purely from adrenaline. I had the offer letter in my jacket pocket. I picked up a bottle of expensive champagne and ordered takeout from the sushi place she claims is the only edible one in the city. When I got home, she was scrolling on her phone on the couch. I set the scene, poured the drinks. I laid the offer letter on the coffee table. I told her, I did it, Director of Operations. They gave me the full package. She picked up the paper, scanned the salary figure, and let out a sigh that sounded like a tire deflating. She dropped the letter back onto the table, without even a smile. "It's okay, I guess," she said, picking her phone back up. I froze. "Okay, it's a 40% raise. It's the director title." She didn't even look up. "Babe, don't get a big head." My ex-maid partner at his firm when he was 30. He was pulling in double this with half the hours. "Your promotion doesn't impress me. It's just what you should be doing." The silence in the room was deafening. It wasn't just a comparison to the ex, a corporate lawyer she hadn't seen in 4 years. It was a dismissal, the entitlement, the absolute lack of respect for the sleepless nights and the ulcers I developed to secure our future. She looked me dead in the eye and added, "I'm just pushing you to be better. By the way, the leasing office for the Kensington called. We need to sign the lease by Friday if we want the penthouse unit. The Kensington is this ultra-luxury complex downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows, concierge gym, the works. The rent was $6,500 a month. With my old salary, it would have been suicide. With the new one, it was doable but stupid. She had been pushing for it for months. Claiming our current apartment was embarrassing for her social standing. "Noted," I said. That was it. I didn't scream. I didn't flip the table. I just said, "Noted." She narrowed her eyes. "Don't be sensitive. You need to go sign the papers tomorrow morning. I'm busy with brunch." The next morning, I took the day off. But I didn't go to the Kensington. I went to a quiet coffee shop and sat there for 4 hours, replaying the last 3 years in my head. Every time I achieved something, she moved the goalpost. Every time I bought a gift, it wasn't the right brand. And now, the realization hit me like a cold sweat. I wasn't her partner. I was her stepping stone. And I was failing to meet the benchmark set by a ghost. I made a phone call, not to the Kensington, but to a property management company run by a buddy of mine. I asked if he still had that studio in the Arts District on 5th. It's a raw, industrial space. Exposed brick, small, maybe 500 square feet. He said yes. I told him I'd take it. Immediate move-in. After securing the studio, I drove to the Kensington. I walked into the leasing office. The agent, a guy named Mark who had been practically salivating over my commission, smiled wide. "Ready to sign the big lease, sir? Your fiancée has been emailing me nonstop about the view." "Actually, Mark," I said, keeping my voice level, "I'm here to exercise the cancellation clause on the holding agreement." His face dropped. "Sir, you put down a holding deposit. You'll lose that $1,000. "I know," I said, handing him a written notice. "Consider the application withdrawn. Do not contact me or any other party regarding this unit again. I walked out $1,000 poorer, but I felt lighter than air. And here's the kicker. I didn't tell her. For the next 3 days, I played the part. I packed boxes. I let her dictate where the furniture should go in the new place. She was manic, talking about hosting parties and how she could finally invite her sorority sisters over without shame. She hired a premium moving company, on my credit card, of course, and scheduled them for Saturday morning. I packed my personal essentials, clothes, laptop, documents, and the expensive whiskey into my car on Friday night while she was out celebrating my promotion with her friends. I was invited. I drove them to the studio. Saturday morning arrived. The movers showed up at 8 a.m. I let them load everything. The sofa, the massive TV, her vanity, her endless wardrobe. "I'll meet you there," she said, kissing my cheek casually. She had her own car. I have to stop and get coffee. Make sure they don't scratch the floors. "Sure," I said. "See you there." She drove off toward the Kensington. I got in my car, waited for the moving truck to pull out, and then signaled the driver to pull over. I had already briefed the foreman and tipped him heavily to be cool with a last-minute change. I handed him a new address slip. "Change of plans," I said. "This stuff goes to Storage Unit B, 42 at the public storage on 5th. Here's the gate code." "And the lady?" the driver asked, confused. "The lady isn't on the bill of lading." "I am," I said. I drove to my new studio, unpacked my single suitcase, and sat on the floor with a coffee. At 10:15 a.m., my phone rang. It was her. "I'm at the desk," she sounded annoyed. "They're saying they don't have a key for us. And where the hell are the movers? Mark is acting weird." I took a sip of coffee. "That's because we don't live there." "What?" Her voice pitched up. "Stop joking. The movers are on the clock. Fix this." I did fix it. I said calmly. "I canceled the lease. You said my promotion didn't impress you. You said I needed to be pushed. I realize you were right. I can't afford a $6,500 apartment if I'm going to catch up to your ex. So I made a financial decision to downsize." "Are you insane?" she screamed. People in the lobby must have turned to look. "I have my friends coming over tonight." "Where are we living?" "I'm living in a studio on 5th. I replied, "You are welcome to come discuss it. I'll text you the address." I hung up. 30 minutes later, the banging on my door was so aggressive, I thought the wood would splinter. I opened the door to the studio. The space was essentially one room, exposed brick, a kitchenette in the corner, and my sleeping bag rolled out on the hardwood floor. It was raw, industrial, and exactly what I needed. She pushed past me, her heels clicking aggressively on the floor, and spun around in the center of the room. "Is this a joke?" she hissed, gesturing at the empty space. "Is this some kind of sick, twisted prank? Where's our furniture? Where's my stuff?" "The furniture is in a climate-controlled storage unit," I said, leaning against the doorframe. "I paid for the first month. After that, it's on you." She froze. The color drained from her face, replaced instantly by a flush of fury. "On me? What are you talking about? We are getting married. Your money is my money. You can't just hijack our lives because I bruise your fragile ego." "It's not about ego," I said. "It's about ROI, return on investment. You taught me that. You made it very clear that my value is tied to my output. Since I'm currently underperforming compared to your ex, I need to cut overhead." "Stop bringing him up," she shrieked. "I was motivating you. God, you are so pathetic. I already told my mother we were moving to the Kensington. Do you know how humiliating this is for me?" "I imagine it is," I said, "but since the lease was in my name and the deposit was my money, I made an executive decision." She marched up to me, getting in my face. "You're going to call Mark right now. You're going to beg him to reinstate the lease. I don't care if you have to pay double. Fix this." "No." She stared at me, genuinely shocked. In 3 years, I had never given her a hard no. "If you don't," she lowered her voice, a dangerous, manipulative tone I knew well, "I'm leaving. I'm done. You think you can treat me like this? I have options. I know you do, I said. I assume you mean the ex? She blinked, a subtle twitch in her left eye. What? I know you've been talking to him. I bluffed. I hadn't seen the text yet, but her reaction to the ex comment earlier was too specific. Her face crumbled for a split second before she recovered. He was just congratulating me on the move. We're friends. Right. Friends who discuss how pathetic I am. I took a step closer. Did you tell him about the promotion? Did you tell him I wasn't good enough? She crossed her arms, shifting into victim mode. I told him I was worried about our future, because you settle for mediocrity. He understands ambition. He tried to help me get you to see your potential. Get out, I said. Excuse me. Get out of my apartment. This lease is in my name only. You aren't on it. You aren't a tenant. You are a guest who has overstayed her welcome. She laughed, a harsh, incredulous sound. You can't kick me out. We have common law rights. I'll sue you for everything you have. You think that promotion money is yours? I supported you emotionally for 3 years. You dismiss my biggest achievement in 30 seconds. I countered. Get out, or I call the police and have you trespassed. She grabbed her purse. You will regret this. You will come crawling back begging me to forgive you. And when you do, the ring is going to be twice as big. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. I didn't crawl back. I went to work. I sat down at my laptop and logged into our shared phone plan. The account owner was me. I pulled the call and text logs. Late night calls. Hundreds of texts to a number I didn't recognize, starting about 3 months ago. I ran the number. It was a corporate cell for a high-end law firm in the city. The ex. Then I checked my credit card statement, the one she was an authorized user on. Pending charges. The Kensington application fee, $150. She applied separately. Lux Movers, $2,200. Saks Fifth Avenue, for $1,500 yesterday. And a retainer for Goldberg and Associates, $2,500. Today, an hour ago. She had used my card to hire a lawyer to sue me. The audacity was almost impressive. She was trying to fund her legal war against me using my own war chest. I immediately called the credit card company. I reported the charge to Goldberg and Associates and Saks as unauthorized transactions. I requested the card be canceled and a new number issued. Next, I called the storage facility and put a lock on the account access. No one enters Unit B, 42 without my physical presence and ID. 2 hours later, my phone blew up. It wasn't her. It was her mother. How dare you do this to my daughter? She is sobbing. She has nowhere to go. You promised her a home. We are going to destroy you in court. I didn't reply. I screenshotted the text and saved it to a folder labeled Evidence. Then the email came. A formal letter from Goldberg and Associates regarding potential litigation regarding breach of promise and detrimental reliance. It claimed she resigned from her position in anticipation of this move and my express promise of support. I stared at the screen. She quit her job. She told me she was taking PTO to handle the move. She wasn't just entitled. She was setting up a palimony trap. She wanted to be a kept woman, and she was trying to use the legal system to force my hand. But she made a critical error. She lied about the timeline. I called the best family law attorney in the state. Let's call him Saul. Saul looked over the demand letter and laughed. Detrimental reliance? In the state? Between unmarried partners? Good luck. Unless you sign a cohabitation agreement promising to support her for life, she's fishing with no bait. She claimed she quit her job because of the move. I said, handing him the printouts. Saul scanned the documents. Did you tell her to quit? No. I told her to get a transfer. She said she was handling it. Okay. First, we respond denying everything. You aren't married. You terminated a lease in your name. That is your right. Second, the credit card. Using your card to pay a retainer to sue you? That's not just bold. It's arguably conversion of funds. We're going to counterclaim for the moving costs, the storage fees, and the unauthorized charges. We filed a response the next morning. The reaction was nuclear. She showed up at my office. Security called me from the lobby, saying a woman claiming to be my wife was shouting. I went down. She was wearing designer sunglasses and crying, a performance piece of the receptionists. "Opie," she wailed. "How could you cut off my card? I can't buy food. I'm staying at a motel." "You have parents," I said, keeping my distance. "And you have the ex. Why isn't he footing the bill?" She stopped crying instantly, her face hardening. "You spoke to him?" "No need. My lawyer subpoenaed your phone records as part of the discovery of a fraud case." I lied. The threat was enough. "You can't do that," she hissed. "I can, and I will, unless you sign a release." I pulled a document from my jacket, saw it, drafted it. It was a mutual release. I keep my money. She gets her stuff from storage. We go our separate ways. No lawsuits. No contact. "I'm not signing that," she spat. "I want half. The engagement ring makes it a verbal contract. The engagement ring is a conditional gift." I recited what Saul told me. The condition is marriage. No marriage. The ring comes back. That's the law in this state. "I pawned it," she smirked, "yesterday, to pay for the motel." I felt a vein throb in my temple. "That ring cost me $12,000. "Then you just committed grand larceny," I said quietly. "Selling property that doesn't legally belong to you before the condition is met." "Arrest me then," she challenged. "You won't. You're too soft." She turned and stormed out. She was right about one thing. I had been soft. I had been a doormat. But she miscalculated. I went to precinct and filed a report for the theft of the ring. Value over $1,000 constitutes a felony in my state. I provided the receipt, the appraisal, and the text message where she admitted to pawning it. 2 days later, the ex entered the chat. I got a call from a block number. "Is this Opie?" "This is X's name." "Look, buddy, you're making a real mess of things. Fiancée is a mess. You need to drop this police report." "It's bad for her," I corrected. "She stole my property." "She was under duress," he said, using his lawyer voice. "Look, I'm willing to cut a check for the ring. Just drop the charges and let her go." "Oh, so you're funding her now?" I asked. "I'm helping a friend," he said. "She deserves better than a guy who makes her live in a closet." "She's all yours, man," I said, "but the police report stays until I get the ring back, physically. I don't want your check. I want the ring." I decided to host a little closing argument. I sent a message to her, her mother, and the ex. Meeting at the storage unit. Saturday, 10 a.m. Bring the ring. I will bring the release forms and the keys to the unit. If the ring isn't there, the police are coming to arrest her for grand larceny. Saturday was gray and drizzling. The storage facility felt like a graveyard for unwanted things. I stood by Unit B, 42 with Saul. A black Mercedes pulled up. The ex got out, looking exactly like I imagined. Slick suit, too much hair gel. My fiancée got out of the passenger side looking tired, and her mother scrambled out of the back. The ex shoved a velvet box at me. "Here, the pawn ticket," was a pain to track down. "You happy?" I opened the box. The diamond was there. Saul inspected it with a loupe. "It appears genuine," he nodded. "Great," the ex said. "Now open the unit. She wants her clothes." "Sign first." Saul produced a clipboard with the mutual release documents. This states that she admits she has no claim to Opie as assets, income, or future earnings. It also states that Opie will not pursue the credit card fraud charges or the theft charges, provided the ring is returned. I'm not signing that. Her mother shouted. "She quit her job for you. She deserves compensation." She was fired. I cut in. Silence. My fiancé looked at me, eyes wide. "I called your old HR department to verify employment dates for the lawsuit," I said calmly. "They told me you were terminated for cause 3 weeks ago. Low performance and insubordination. You didn't quit for the move. You were fired, and you tried to use me as a golden parachute." The ex turned to look at her. "You said you resigned." I was going to," she stammered. "They just beat me to it. And the texts." I looked at the ex. did she tell you she was only with me until you were ready? I pulled out my phone and played a voice memo from our old apartment's Ring camera. She had been on speakerphone with her mother 2 weeks ago. Recording, mother's voice, just stick it out a little longer until the lease is signed. Once his name is on the Kensington lease, he's stuck. Then you can work on X again. The audio echoed in the alleyway. The X's face went stone cold. He looked at my fiancée, then at her mother. You played me. The X said, I thought you were in a bad situation. I didn't know I was a backup plan. No, he's twisting it, she screamed, grabbing the X's arm. He shook her off. Sign the paper, the X said to her. I'm done. Trembling, she took the pen. She signed the release. Her mother was silent now, realizing the gravy train had just derailed. Saul took the clipboard. Pleasure doing business. I unlocked the padlock on Unit B, 42, and rolled up the door. Her stuff was there, the velvet sofas, the endless shoe boxes, the life she couldn't afford. It's all yours, I said. Gate code is 1234. You have until 5 p.m. to get it out, or the facility auctions it off. I canceled the contract effective today. I turned to walk away. OP, she called out. Her voice was small, broken. Where am I supposed to go? I stopped. I looked back at her, standing in the rain next to a pile of expensive furniture. She couldn't move, and a man who no longer wanted her. Noted, I said, and I got in my car. It's been 2 months. I sold the ring and used the money to furnish my studio. It's got a great industrial vibe now. I'm crushing at work. Director role fits me like a glove. She moved back in with her parents in the suburbs. Rumor has it the ex blocked her on everything. She tried to reach out to me once via LinkedIn asking if we could get coffee and clear the air. I reported the profile as spam. I learned that self-worth isn't about the title on your business card. It's about knowing when to walk away from a deal that's bankrupting your soul. I cut my losses, and my stock has never been higher.